Michael Bolton auditioned to replace Ozzy Osbourne after he left Black Sabbath, and that, my friends, is a fact of life. Thank you, and welcome to That's the Facts of Life, where we go through all the topics that matter to you and bring you just the facts. Today's topics include broker check improved, the SEC approves, and wolves remain unmoved. Before we get there, though, let's check in on that naughty list. Topping the list this week is a New York-based firm that was fined $500,000, ordered to pay over $1 million in restitutions, and had their president barred. According to FINRA, the firm and its president defrauded its customers with sales of a private placement offering from January of 2011 through October of 2011. During this time, they discovered the offering's CEO and managing director had a few minor red flags for things like affecting transactions on the offering's behalf, an SEC sanction for securities fraud, a Florida felony charge, and his worst offense, a bad employee review on Glassdoor. At this point, they should have reported him, but instead, they purposely hid the fine gentleman's background and his association with the offering, all the while continuing to sell more than $1 million worth of interest to their customers. The scheme began to unravel when the CEO was sued by the SEC in November of 2011, then criminally prosecuted, convicted, and sentenced to prison in connection with a different fraudulent scheme with the same offering. It's like they always say, no fraud scheme goes unseen. In other news, FINRA appears to be cracking the whip on firms who have brokers with undisclosed liens and judgments. At one independent broker-dealer, FINRA was looking into more than 3,000 separate instances of unreported U4 issues, including an $80 lien from 1986, which was the cost of an unreturned VHS copy of Howard the Duck. One person said it's a shake-up and a shake-down, but sadly, it's no shake and bake. Two other firms were also fined a total of $850,000 for reporting failures, which FINRA said were a matter of supervisory lapses. Apparently, the payroll department of both firms failed to notify compliance or do further due diligence when they received a wage garnishment order from a creditor. In their defense, though, they thought the garnishment was pertaining to a food decoration, which is actually a really common mistake. Speaking of lapse, the SEC recently approved FINRA's proposal to take their Olympic-sized pool of arbitrators down to a kiddie pool by restricting who can serve as a public arbitrator. The new rule is good news for claimants' attorneys because you're no longer barred from the public pool. Once you stop devoting 20% of your professional time defending claimants, and go cool off in that corner for 5 years. If you happen to be an attorney, an accountant, or other professional that has worked with financial firms for 20 years or more, please get out of the public pool and go swim in that creepy, seldom-used, non-public pool and take your floaties with you. But if your expertise is less than 20 years, good news, you're in. After you join those attorneys over there in the corner for 5 years. Finally, it appears FINRA's high-risk broker program allows wolves to roam free, according to a Wall Street Journal analysis. This program, which targets brokers with large numbers of disciplinary red flags and other issues, doesn't seem to apply to former brokers of Stratton Oakmont, that firm portrayed in The Wolf of Wall Street. As of last year, 166 wolves still roamed free in the industry. According to the analysis, the pack tends to accumulate complaints, regulatory actions, and 9 times more red flags than the average broker. These numbers are actually astonishing because half the pack are actually pups, with spotless disciplinary records. The biggest head-scratcher, though, is why FINRA won't disclose the names or details of the brokers the program is barred, nor the number of brokers they've identified as high risk that are still in the industry, thus creating a comedy fit for a Shakespearean play featuring a regulator always crying disclosure, yet has nothing to disclose, when all eyes are on them. Seems very reminiscent of a story of a boy and his wolf. Well, that'll do it for today. To learn more about industry news, check out the Compliance Digest, or tune into an all-new episode in 2 weeks. Oh, and in case you didn't know, the Roman Colosseum was built with a retractable awning. And that, my friends, is a fact of life.